Hello.
Hello สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Questions for us for this exciting
Rockstar
December.
means popular or means singer.
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 Single means not married.
Singer.
Singer.
What does
Singer.
rockstar mean?
A real rock star is the person in a band who sings rock music, right? That's a rock star. But you're right. Also, a rock star means someone who's really cool, because rock stars, singers, are usually cool. You know, someone with a guitar, rock and roll, as we say. Usually they're cool. They have, tight pants and, maybe not mohawks, but maybe long hair and, necklaces and chains. Rock star, someone who's cool. So if someone said, hey, Sipti, you're a rock star, that means you're cool. It doesn't have to mean that you like rock music. You could even be a rapper and they say, hey, you look like a rock star. That would still be okay.
Justin Bieber said, I am a rock star. Rock star. Not
I don't know
a doctor. Something like that.
Like what?
Not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, he's saying I'm in the music industry. I'm not in the doctor industry. Yeah. But I don't know if he's a rock star. But he can definitely say that. I'm a rock star. That means I'm in the music industry. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you sing. You could be a rapper and you could still say I'm a rock star. That means just you're a singer. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's time for another episode of John's Painful.
Good luck for me.
What is it called, John's?
John's painful story เหรอ
Biographies or history lessons.
Biography.
Yeah, biography means the history of a person, and history lessons is just the past. So, do you know who it is?
A singer.
It is a singer, yes. Have you ever seen him before?
I think.
Want to hold that up
but I
so
can't
people
remember.
I
can't.
remember. Do you want to make a guess? Who do you think it is?
No.
Yeah, that is Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley, yes. Anyway, so this is a history of Elvis and also the time when he was alive in the United States, which was in the 1940s, 50s, 60s. So almost 70 years ago now, 80, almost 90 years ago now. So as I said before, my history lessons are full of confusion, missing dates, Sibti yawning, boring parts, confusion, wrong statements. If you racism, if you want to learn the real history, you should watch a history show. But my history lessons are to teach you, in my opinion, what people think. Not necessarily what is real. So, this is a history lesson of Elvis Presley and the time when he was alive, because it was very important in the United States. So, Elvis Presley was kind of like the Justin Bieber of the 1950s.
At that time.
Many people will get angry when I say that because a lot of people love Elvis still today. And nowadays, many men think Elvis is really cool. But at the time, if you watch the videos, most of the people at his concerts were girls, young girls, like Justin Bieber. They are screaming and you know, trying to touch him. There wasn't that many guys at his concerts. There were some, but if you watch it, it was mostly girls. At the time, it was mostly girls. But nowadays, a lot of guys really like Elvis music. And he's very popular. But at the time, it was different. So he was kind of like Justin Bieber of his time. He was very handsome. I don't know if you can see in this picture, but if you watch videos of him, he was a handsome guy. He was from the south of the United States. He was born in 1935, January 8th. And his full name, Elvis Aaron Presley. So he was born in Mississippi, which is down in the south of the United States. And then he moved to Memphis, Tennessee, when he was 13 years old. He was very poor when he was a kid. He lived in probably a trailer or some small house like I used to live in probably. And they didn't have any money when he was a kid. He had a twin brother. So he was supposed to have a brother, but his twin brother died when he was born. So it was just Elvis who survived. He started singing when he was, I don't know how old, but he started in 1954. So I guess he was almost 19 maybe. So he became popular. There was some music deals and stuff like that, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's important. But what is important is when he was born. So he was born at a time in the United States called the Great Depression. The Great Depression. In the United States in 1929, a little bit before he was born, there was a stock market crash, the hoon, right? In the United States, the hoon is really, really big. It's not like in Thailand. In the United States, the stock market is huge. There are huge companies like Apple and Microsoft that are worth trillions of dollars. If the stock market in the United States goes down, everyone in the world suffers because everyone has money in the United States stock market. And if the United States stock market goes down, all countries lose money. And so in 1929, there was a stock market crash. The price went poof, and everyone got scared, and a lot of people lost all of their money, all of the money that they had. And when that happened, people were really scared. They stopped buying things because they didn't have any money. People didn't have any jobs because if you stop going to 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven can't sell anything. So they have to fire their employees. And then those people don't have any money. So it's a spiral like this. Everyone starts losing money, and then things get worse and worse and worse. So in 1929 in the United States, things were really, really horrible. Everyone was poor. 30% of people didn't have any jobs, and people thought that things were going to get much worse. Some people thought that the world was over. He was born a little bit after that time, but people were still poor at that time, and so they didn't want to go out. They didn't want to do anything when he was young, and people were afraid that they wouldn't get a job, that they wouldn't have a house, or that they wouldn't be able to do anything. In the United States now, you hear people talking about the Great Depression all the time. they'll always say, another Great Depression is coming, watch out. Everyone's scared of another depression, another time when there's no jobs and no food and nothing like that. So anyway, after the stock market crash, things got better. Then World War II happened. That wasn't better, but remember Hitler. Where is he? Remember Hitler?
You know what? I don't remember.
Right. That World War II happened after that. And Elvis was after that time. This biography is a little bit after World War II, when Elvis Presley was a teenager, or he became an adult. Anyway, so he started his singing career, and he was very popular. People really loved his singing, but he used to dance in a very sexy way, and at that time in the United States, you couldn't do that. So the United States now, you can, if you watch movies, you'll think, wow, American people are shameless. They're wearing bikinis and talking about crazy things and showing their legs and whatever. But at this time, in 1950, people were much more conservative. They didn't think that dancing in a sexy way, or even boys having their hair too long, was considered crazy. So Elvis used to dance. He used to, if you watch the video, you can see he used to. Today it's stupid, but at that time.
Not stupid.
No, I'm saying today, if you danced like he did, nobody would care. But at that time, people were scared. This is crazy. And there was a newspaper at the time, the New York Herald, and they wrote an article about him. They said he is unspeakably untalented and vulgar. Vulgar is like disgusting, like he's doing things that are gross. Parents and some religious organizations, they got very angry at him, and they said that he's destroying the United States with his dancing and the way that he moved. I don't think they cared about his singing. I don't think the lyrics had anything bad. It was just the way that he danced and the way that he performed. So Elvis kind of started what is now rock and roll. Before Elvis, though, there were people, African American people, who were singing like Elvis. But at that time, like we learned before, and we're going to learn later, because of slavery, right?
ทาสเหรอ
Yeah, because of slavery, it ended already. Remember in the Civil War, when where is he? At this time, remember after this time, African American people were not slaves anymore, but people were still separated. People were angry at each other, and African American people didn't have any money. They didn't have any land. They didn't have anything. They were free. They didn't have to work for free, but they didn't have anything. So they couldn't buy anything. So they had a lot of music, though, that they used to play in underground concert halls or in concerts. But it wasn't popular in the whole United States because they weren't white. So nobody wanted to nobody wanted to hire them as performers because they didn't think that they would be popular. So instead, Elvis took some of this music and his own style, and he became one of the first rock and roll artists. But a lot of African American people will say that he stole this music from them, and they weren't allowed to make any money or profit from that music. Anyway, I don't think it was just the music though. Elvis was popular because of his performances and the way that he looked, and the way that he acted. But definitely that music, rock and roll, was taken from African American people who sang in that way. Blues music and kind of a rock and blues music. Blues music, I can't explain it, but if you want to look it up, you can look up blues music and you'll hear trumpets. You know this one? Anyway, so Elvis also was a movie star. He used to make movies, and he went to Hollywood because he was very handsome and he was very charismatic. He was a good performer, but he didn't really want to be in cheap movies, but Hollywood wanted him to be in cheap movies and he would just sing. So they wanted him to be in the movie. It was just a kind of a silly movie, but then he would sing in the movie. And they thought that would be a great movie. And those movies were popular. He did try to do other movies where he was just talking and they didn't do as well. People loved when he was singing. He joined the army in the United States because at that time and into Vietnam, people had to join the army if the government said, okay, everyone has to join the army. It's called a draft. When the government says you have to join the army, it's called a draft.
Draft.
Yeah, draft. And Elvis had to join the army. That was the law in the United States at that time. So he joined the army, and he made $78 per month. How many baht?
$78
Dollars for 1
คูณ
month.
3 6,000 7,000หรอno 700 6 7,000หรอ
No, it's about
700
2,500 baht. I don't know exactly, but it's less than 3,000. So in the army, at that time, people only got paid $78, 2,500 baht per month. And he made $1 million the year before working as a singer. So he had to join the army and make $78, but he was a millionaire from his music. Nowadays, in Korea, they have the same problem. So you know the band BTS, that popular band? People in Korea are scared that those singers will have to join the army. Because in Korea, they have the draft, just like in the United States at that time. But Elvis, he didn't mind. He joined the army, and a lot of the other branches, the Navy, remember what's the Navy? The Navy.
ทหารเรือ NC
Yeah, exactly. The Navy and the other, maybe the Air Force, I'm not sure, they wanted him also because he was so popular. They thought he would be a good show for the Army or for the Navy. And they competed to get him to join their group. But he joined the Army and he was sent to Berlin. So, Berlin is in Germany. Okay? So, after World War II, after Hitler, remember? What's it? Remember Hitler? I should have my pages numbered or something to show a better Hitler. After Hitler died, the United States and Russia, at that time it was called the Soviet Union, cut Germany in half. Because after Hitler died and Germany's army was destroyed, there was nothing left there. And so the United States and the Soviet Union took everything that was in Germany. They took all the scientists, all of their technology, everything that they had, and they cut Berlin into two. The west side, on this side, west side, was like the United States, capitalist, and on the east side was communist from Russia. And people were scared at that time that the Soviet Union, Russians, would come and take over the west side of Germany. So a lot of American soldiers went to Germany on the west side to stay there in case Russia tried to invade. So everyone wanted German technology. They wanted their airplanes, they wanted their bombs, they wanted their missiles, they wanted their rockets, they wanted everything. And Einstein was one of those people, but he wasn't taken from Germany. He left Germany because he was Jewish. But a lot of other people in Germany who were just as smart as him were taken by the United States and Russia to work for American companies and for Russian military companies. Okay, so anyway, back to Elvis. So Elvis had to go to Germany to stand there and to wait in case there was another war, right? And he didn't have to fight anyone. He would just walk around, and usually German girls would see him and they would run and try to meet him. So sometimes he had to be a guard, and he would walk around outside, and people in Germany, girls, would find out where he was going to work, and they would run in and try to meet him when he was doing guard duty. He stayed there for a couple, I'm not sure how long he was there for, but when he was there, he met his wife, and I don't know, it was at some party or something, but he met his wife there, and a lot of his fans were sad about that when he got married. That he didn't get married in Germany, but I don't know if his wife was German or if she just lived there. I'm not sure. But anyway, he met her there when he was in Germany. A lot of people in the United States thought at that time that the government had a secret plan to destroy Elvis by putting him in the army.
Why?
Because, to get rid of him, to send him away so he couldn't be popular. Because at that time, people thought that he was destroying the world with his dancing. So
Because he did something different.
yeah, because he was dancing in a sexy way, and they thought that he was ruining the world. Some people even said that he was creating childhood delinquency or juvenile delinquency. That means when kids don't go to school and they just start, stealing things and being bad. Many people in the United States at that time thought that Elvis was making kids criminals. Yeah, and a lot of his fans, the people who liked him, usually girls, young girls, they thought that that the government was trying to send him away to the army to stop him from destroying the United States.
That's so bad.
So nowadays we have many conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy means like secret, and theorist means like scientist, kind of. So like a person who believes that, there's aliens trying to take over the world, or there's some company that is trying to put something in your food or something. These are conspiracy theorists, right? So conspiracy theorists in the 1950s thought that the United States government was sending Elvis to the army to get rid of him, to stop him from destroying the United States. So nowadays, people in the United States we think more sophisticated, more smarter than that. But at that time, conspiracy theorists were pretty crazy, just like now. But at that time, it was even more ridiculous than now. Anyway, even the president, so the United States president, President Eisenhower, he got letters from fans of Elvis saying, please don't send him to the army. Please help us to save him from going to the army. And of course, the president didn't do anything about that. The army did allow him 60 days to finish his movie. So he was trying to make a movie, and it was at the same time when he was supposed to go to the army. And they gave him 2 months to finish his movie before he had to go to the army. For other people, they wouldn't do that, right? For me, if I said, hey, can I have 60 days to go on
Because
vacation?
it's very popular.
Yeah, exactly.
Important.
Exactly. But he still had to go, but he was more popular than average people, so they gave him some extra time. Like I said, he only made $78 in the army per month, and that's really, really bad. Risking your life for $78, that was pretty bad, I think, even at the time. Let's see what else we have here. The Berlin Wall. So in Germany, like I said, right, Germany was cut down. The city of Berlin was cut in half with a big wall in the middle, and it was called the Berlin Wall. If you were on the east side of the wall, then it was communist and Russian people there. Well, Germans, but Russian government officials and army. And then on the west side was American forces and maybe British also, and American military. There are still American military people in Germany now, but I don't know where they are or what bases they have. But anyway, the Berlin Wall is gone now. It was destroyed, and now Germany is reunited. But at that time, when Elvis was there, there was a big wall that separated the two sides of Germany. His wife was named Priscilla, and he met her at some party or something when he was in the army. One of his friends knew her or something, and he invited her to the party, and then that's how they met. After that, Elvis went back to the United States, and he was even more popular than when he left. He did many more movies, and he did more songs. He sold a huge amount of records. At that time, there were no CDs, there were no MP3 players. It was the big black ones with the needle. They had records, and at that time, he was very, very popular. He sold more than anyone else. I think he was one of the highest selling artists of all time. Sold more records, I think, than anyone else at that time. Maybe even now, I'm not sure. But he started doing a lot of prescription drugs. So drugs means like on the street, heroin, cocaine, those are drugs. But prescription drugs means from a doctor, like painkillers or I don't know what other prescription drugs people take, but there are some drugs that doctors will give you if you have some problem or if they think that it will help you, but you're only supposed to take what the doctor gives you. And Elvis had a lot of those drugs because he was on the road all the time, and he was singing, and I don't know why the doctors gave him drugs. Maybe because he couldn't sleep, or maybe he was sleeping.
He worked too much.
He was sleeping too much, or he couldn't sleep, or he was depressed. So he started to do a lot of drugs, and a lot, and he got very fat. He couldn't speak sometimes anymore, and eventually he died when he was just 42 years old. He died at his
42.
house. Yeah, he was just 42 on August 16th, 1977. He was in his house, and everyone, if you watch movies or if you hear about it, they laugh because he was in the bathroom. He was on the toilet when he died. And some people laugh about that.
Why?
It's just they don't want to die like that. You'll hear people in the United States say, I don't want to die like Elvis. That means I don't want people to find me dead in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, right? They want to die like, fighting or in their bed or...
We can't use time either.
Or, right, but a lot of people you'll hear, that's why I'm telling you this, is because I have heard it 1,000 times. People say, well, I don't want to die like Elvis. That means I don't want to die in a not honorable, not in a cool way. Anyway, who cares, right? You don't know. Other people, I guess, think so. Anyway, he died, and in his house in Tennessee, in the United States, and he was just 42 years old. You saw Elvis in Blade Runner 2049. So if you remember, we watched Blade Runner, the second one, not the first one. Remember when he went to that casino and you saw a guy in white on a stage? You didn't hear him singing, but there was a guy in white. That was Elvis.
That is real Elvis.
Yeah, well, maybe they took a video of him or something, but in the movie it's not real Elvis. It's just a video. But I'm saying that that's who he was. He went to Las Vegas in the United States. Las Vegas is where all the casinos are in the United States. So usually in the United States we don't have gambling. You can't gamble in most cities in the United States.
Gambling means
The casino. When you put, remember you said in Cambodia, when you put your money on the
coin like coin
yes, like it's
plastic.
called a chip. It's called a casino chip. You put it on the, on the game, and then they take it from you. That's gambling. In the United States, we only have gambling, I think, in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas has a lot of shows. They have a lot of clubs. Sipti would like Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a party city. Now with the coronavirus, I have family in Las Vegas. I've been there many times. I've lost a lot of money at the casino. I have a chip, actually. I have a casino chip I'll give to Sipti on the show next time from Las Vegas. I've been to Las Vegas many times, and there's a lot of shows there. There's a lot of clubs there, but it's very expensive. Like in Thailand, you can go to a club, maybe you pay 100 baht, like I do, $3 to get in. In Las Vegas, you might have to pay $50 or $100, 3,000 baht to get into the club. And the drinks are not cheap. You pay a lot of money in Las Vegas. But it's kind of a party town. And Elvis was in Las Vegas for many shows. He did a lot of singing there. He would dress up in like Western style outfits. Not really like this, but like a cowboy. He dressed up like a cowboy, not like this, not with the poncho, but similar to this part, but it was more, it wasn't dirty like this. It was clean and usually white, and he had like a cowboy hat or something. And he was really cool. People thought that he was a rock star. You'll see him. People talk about him all the time. People now in the United States still go to his home, probably, for when he died on August 16th.
They let other people go there.
Yeah, they have like a party probably at his home and in other places to remember him, to remember his music, and people all dress up like him. They wear the same clothes. They wear he used to have big sunglasses that he would wear, and he talked kind of like, I can't do Elvis accent, but he had a very specific kind of talk like this. He said, I'm Elvis. And he would kind of talk from
old
one.
people.
No, it was more cool. It was cooler than that. Maybe I'll show you a video so you can
imagine.
I'll show you a video because you can see. He was really cool, and a lot of people said he was a very kind person. That he was a very good person. He was very respectful. Like when he talked with you, he would say yes, sir, and he was very kind. Everyone thought that he was a good person, but he died too young, right? Because too much passion for his singing, or I don't know what his problem was, but he seemed to be a kind person. I don't know why he wasn't happy, but probably
Not too much.
He was depressed
Because he
or something.
entertained people.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's see, what time is it? Okay, we have some more time. So, in the 1950s, also, was the atomic age. Atomic means the atom. You know what an atom is? When you go really, 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 really small, what do you see? If you can look really, really, really small, like one piece of something.
Dot.
Yeah, but smaller than that. Like if you could see into in this pen, and you keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till you get to the smallest thing. What is that?
Dot.
Not a dot, smaller than that. Usually they draw like this. Yeah.
Nuclear.
Yeah, exactly. The small little things
In cell.
not in cells, but in all things, in the cameras, in the air, they're made of atoms. We call these atoms.
Atom.
Yeah, that's an atom, right? In the United States, in the 1950s, was the atomic age. So the United States made nuclear bombs, right? And were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan to end World War II with Japan. And after that, there was a lot of technology about nuclear energy. People were excited about what they could do with this energy. People thought that they could put this in cars, in airplanes, in boats, in trains, and they thought that in the future, everything would be nuclear powered. Not gas, not coal, not natural gas. They thought that it would be nuclear, like bombs. And they used to say that nuclear power plants, the thing that makes electricity from nuclear energy, they used to say that in the future, if we have nuclear power, that the electricity will be so cheap, it will be free. We have nuclear power plants now. In the United States, there's 120, but electricity is not free. So that was not true at all. But whenever there's new technology and new excitement, people think, wow, everything's going to be amazing. Everything's going to be great. And it's not always as great as first predicted. Anyway, we have some glasses, cups, plates, dishes in the United States that were made in 1950 that have uranium in them. The atoms that you need to make nuclear energy is called uranium, 235
Uranium.
or 238 maybe, and 239.
Mineral.
Atom. Well, it's a element, and there are glasses and cups that are yellow, and if you turn off the light, they shine. It's like a light because it has uranium in the glasses. Sometimes you can find those in the United States for sale. They're not cheap, and they're not really dangerous, but you don't really want to be eating the glass or anything. But they glow in the nighttime forever. It's not like a light that glows. Like if you turn off the light with a uranium glass, it shines forever because it has a little bit of radiation. Anyway, the 1950s was the atomic age. If you see pictures from 1950, you see the cars look like spaceships, and there were atoms drawn on things. People thought that this was going to be an amazing future for the United States. People started to get really happy after World War II. They thought that all the evil people in the world were killed, and that now only the good people were left, and that everything was going to be great in the United States. People started going out more. They started going to movies. They started go to concerts, and Elvis was one of the first people that they could go to see. And he became very, very popular. People had more money at that time after World War II. The Great Depression ended, and people started to have more money. And so they could go out, they could go to concerts, and they wanted to go see Elvis. At that time, people were very happy. They thought that the future was going to be great. They thought that the future was going to be amazing and perfect. If you can see 1950s in the United States when you watched Back to the Future. Remember in the first Back to the Future movie when they went back into the past to meet Marty's mom and dad? Not in the cowboy, not in the third one, not with the cowboys.
I remember.
In the first one, they went back.
At school.
Yes, that's 1950. People were happy at that time, right?
People style like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And there was a lot of technology. People thought that the future was going to be great and that there were no bad people left in the world. After that, things got bad because the United States started to have trouble with Russia and the Soviet Union, which we will hear about later. Let's see what else we have here. I don't know if anyway, at that time though, also, like I was saying before, we had segregation in the United States. So like I said before, we had slavery in the United States. African people were brought to the United States because American people were lazy. European people were lazy and didn't want to work. And so they brought African people who were much stronger and made them work for free. That's slavery, right? There was a war in the United States called the Civil War to end that. And now in the United States, we still have trouble with the North and the South of the United States because the North and the South fought. The South of the United States wanted to keep slavery, to work on the farms that they had. The North of the United States was against having slavery. And so we had a war and slavery was ended. But the problem was, like I said, African American people didn't have any money. So even though slavery ended, they were really, really, really poor. And a lot of them went up to Detroit. And that's why because they wanted to go to Canada. Before the United States stopped slavery, Canada didn't have slavery. So if you were an African American person, if you were a black person in the United States and you didn't want to be a slave, you had to go to Canada. And the way into Canada was through Detroit. And that's why there's a lot of African American people in Detroit. And when you saw 8 Mile and you saw what the city looks like, that's because of slavery in the United States. And there were laws in the United States in the 1950s that said that it was okay to have schools for black people and schools for white people. That's called segregation. And
แบ่งแยกเหรอ Right?
I don't know what the Thai word is. But anyway, the court, the government of the United States said that it was okay as long as the black schools were not poor and the white schools were not rich. So the government said, okay, it's okay if you have different schools, but it can't be a good school and a bad school. So the United States government allowed, they said it's okay if you have 2 schools. But what happened is that the white schools, the people who were white, like me, had good schools and black people had bad schools.
That is not good.
So that's the problem. The government allowed it though because they didn't want or they didn't know that or maybe they didn't care, depending on what you believe, but they were hoping that the different schools would be equal, but of course they weren't. And so we still have racism and hatred in the United States today. And we're going to talk about that in another class, but it's important to understand where it began. Anyway, it's very common to see in the United States that there were even places to drink that said not for black people, not for African American people. And that was still today, we have problems in the United States because of that. And it still happens today. People don't understand. It's not just black and white though. There's people from Mexico, there's people from Arabia, there's people from all over the world now, Vietnamese, even Thai people, Chinese people. And a lot of people, when I was a teacher, used to ask me, when they went to the United States, they would say, John, why do people hate me in the United States? They said, students would tell me, they would say, John, I went to the United States. People in the United States hate me because I'm from Jordan, or I'm from China. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm from this country. I said, no, it's not because you're from that country. It's just because American people hate everyone. Now, there's racism. It's not just racism for one group. It's racism for everyone, even me, right? Even Eminem, right? You see Eminem, he was maybe not treated so badly when he was popular, but if you are a different looking person in a group in the United States, people are going to be mean to you. But definitely worse for African American people than other groups, for sure. They had it the worst. But other people, Chinese people also, were treated very badly in the United States. Japanese people were treated really, really badly in the United States in World War II, because when Japan attacked Hawaii, people were angry at the Japanese, and so they took Japanese people and put them in prison, even though they didn't do anything wrong. They just said, well, you're Japanese, and we don't like Japan, so we'll put you in jail. So the United States has a lot of good things, but the past of the United States is not always good. And I think it's important to tell that, because hiding things or trying to make things seem better than they are doesn't help anyone. Anyway, uranium. One last thing. John Lennon, another very popular musician, said that before Elvis, there was nothing. So Elvis was a very, very popular singer, kind of like Justin Bieber.
Because he first rockstar.
He was one of the first rock stars, and also because of his personality, and because of his dancing, and because of the way he looked, and his voice.
His style.
Yes, style.
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 Exactly. Anyway, if you learn about the United States, if you go to the United States, if you watch movies about the United States, you will see Elvis Presley. And that's why we have to talk about him.
Many movies like to cover his style.
Yeah. And people dress up like him. You can usually like a white...
Long pants and...
Yes, those are called bell bottoms. If your pants are tight...
กางเกงขาม้า
If you're tight at the top and then they get big at the bottom, it's a bell. It's called a bell bottom. Okay, so if you didn't understand about Elvis, that's why we have Sibti here to explain to you now.
I don't know.
So, Sibti, tell us who Elvis is? Who's Elvis?
Elvis is Elvis is first singer.
Single? Singer.
At after war II.
World War II.
After World War II.
World
War
War II. Which ended when?
II. A lot of people.
When did World War II end?
19.
I don't think I told you. I don't think you know.
But he born after 1929.
Yes, that was the stock market crash. That was the Great Depression. World War II and the Great Depression, not the same thing. The Great Depression was because of the stock market, the Hoon that went down, and World War II was because of Germany.
He started to be singer.
What kind of singer?
Probably 1950 or
54. He started his singing career in 1954.
1954. His style was rock and roll or rock and blues.
Rhythm and blues. Yeah, it was called rhythm and blues.
He mixed between old music when after the war and his style together.
No, not old style. So remember, African American people had rhythm and blues. They had this type of music. But white people didn't really know about it. It was only popular in their cities and their communities. But some people heard it and they said, okay, this is great, but we need someone else to make it popular. And Elvis made it popular.
Probably he popular because he was a handsome and he
Handsome? He was?
He was handsome. And he did his style.
Strong with the L.
Style.
Yeah, remember, it's not apple.
Style. Different. He liked to dance. Sexy dance.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's not sexy. If you watch it now, you're not going to say, wow, that's sexy. You're going to say, that's stupid.
At that time.
But at that time, it was shocking.
American don't like to. Didn't have someone did that before.
Yes, exactly. He was the first one. In public. Yeah.
And when he became popular, he went to Hollywood.
Where's Hollywood? California. Yeah.
And he was singing song in many movies.
Songs.
And after that, he had to go to army. The army. In Germany.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, that's fine. You're repeating it. But I'm saying, if some kid just asks you, Sipti, who's this? What are you going to say?
Justin Bieber in 19.
That's my explanation. But many people are not going to like that, so you shouldn't say that.
Popular singer.
Yes. From 1950s and 60s.
1950.
50s. Yeah, all of the 50s, 1950s.
He's very popular.
And why was he popular?
Because he danced.
Because of his dancing, right?
At that time, no one danced.
And
he sing a song.
His singing. And his personality. He was cool. He was really cool. If you watch videos of him, you can see. Yeah. he was tough. His voice is very nice. He sounds very confident, and he just looks. He has a presence. When you see him talk, he just is very, very confident. He doesn't care about what other people think, and you can really see it. He says, this is me, and the confidence is really amazing.
He was very important because a lot of people like him. Liked.
Well, you can't be important if people like you, and like you if you're important. I mean,
Because,
what's the reason?
Like the government even though the government had to take care of him because he's very, very popular. That's why he's important.
Well, okay, but he was important. Why?
Because what he did.
No, because people liked him. They loved him, right? They admired him. He was like some type of...
อิทธิพล what do you call?
Huh?
Someone like idol.
Yeah.
Or like Blackpink or...
Bang Pink? What?
No, anyway.
Okay, anyway. I don't know, Bang.
Blackpink.
Blackpink? What's that?
Like Lisa in Blackpink. Girl group in Korean, but very popular.
Okay, but I don't know who Blackpink is.
Right now.
Okay, wow. Okay, but I don't know who that is. Anyway, I think you understand Elvis more than enough. The other ones are going to be, I think I have two more, a little bit harder. But Elvis, as long as you've seen him and you know that he was just a cool singer, that's all you really need to know. Yeah. Anyway, so that's another exciting episode of
John's Painful. This is history.
Well, it's biographies.
Biography.
Yes. Remember, full
Reviews.
of... Not reviews.
Reviews.
No.
No.
Just biographies. There's no review. Just a biography. Remember, my reviews and my biographies and history lessons are full of forgotten dates and racism and hatred. But I'm trying to teach what people really think, not necessarily what the truth is. It's just what people in the United States are thinking. I think that's more important than the truth. The truth you can learn by watching a real history lesson. Anyway, thank you so much, Sipti, for coming and yawning on the show.
Yawning. How?
And, yeah.
Yawning.
Questions for us about your friend Elvis?
No, I didn't know. I asked you about rockstar and you will talk about rockstar today.
Yes, exactly. That was good luck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other questions about Mr. Elvis? Do you think he's good looking?
Yeah.
What do you think, 1 to 10? Better than Justin?
I think he cute.
Better than Justin Bieber?
Not the same.
Okay.
8.
And Justin Bieber?
7, 8.
You like Elvis more than Justin Bieber or no?
I like more.
More than Justin Bieber?
I'm not sure. I had to.
You have to see.
I have to see.
You won't like the music as much. Definitely, it's not the same as music today.
Because music, guys.
And you're
cute.
not going to the dancing is kind of silly compared to what you're used to now.
But I saw in many movies.
I'm not sure you have because.
Just die. He's died.
Are you sure? You've seen Elvis dancing?
No, not him. I think not him.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll show you. I'll put a clip so people can see.
He had kids. Oh no.
He had at least one daughter, and she's also a singer. I can't remember her name, but I think he had at least one daughter. I'm not sure if there's other kids, but at least one daughter, yes. Yep. Anyway, that's our history review of Elvis. Thank you so much, Sipti.
Thank you.
If you want to see Sipti at Elvis's concert, screaming and
No, not me.
and trying to touch Elvis, just add her on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye
ขอบคุณค่ะ
bye.